Definitely Highwaymen. That's a great project, first of all, and a great song.
So that was a super group from back in the 80s with, some just heavy hitter country guys, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson.
I'm doing Willie Nelson's part, and Russell is doing Chris Christopherson's part. And I wanted him to do that because of the lyrics, because it fits him. And that's why I'm doing Willie's part, because those lyrics kind of fit me. And Stu, actually, for Waylon Jennings' part, it's just, I think it's going to suit his voice. And of course, Michael's got to do Johnny Cash. I mean, that's an automatic. So I think it's going to be great. I mean, we're all in different parts of the world except for Stu and I. So they're going to be tracking on their own, and I told them to please just give me as many options as you can so that in the mix we can figure out how it's all going to work together. But the base of the song that's done right now, I'm thrilled about. So it's going to take people by surprise, because it's basically a country song that we heavied up into a rock song.
John took the song, put the Iced Earth thing to it, and then I did some things that I pulled from the actual recording.
It really brings the original home, because he's doing some like bluegrass picking stuff that's going to really support the main chords, because we did it Iced Earth style, so it's that kind of a thing going on. But what he added to it really supports the melodies from the original.
What I did was try to take some of the original stuff that was on the original song, put it on the new song using different instruments than they were originally. I mean, there's a guitar part on there that's pretty apparent, but if you listen to the original, there's some other parts that I just transferred onto lap steel or onto guitar or harmonics or played with slide. I mean, what I got two cross-picking parts. One's like one octave, the other's an octave up. Well, it's an inverted chord, so it's just inversion of the chord. So it's basically covering two frequencies. Mm-hmm. And then the slide part that I came up with, I'm not going to do, because that's going to be covered on the lap steel when I do that. Okay.
It's the highlight for me. It's a perfect way to end the thing. I mean, I love it. Absolutely love it. We mixed at a place, I guess it's called Now Studios, in Berlin. I mean, it's a hotel that has a studio in it.
We needed a studio with a console that had, basically married analog and digital in a seamless way. And for that, you want an SSL duality. That's kind of what you want for that, ideally.
We've been working quite fast here, and the songs are very expansive in their track count and also their musical direction. So we've needed the benefit of digital, but we're lucky that we can use the analog part of the studio as well.
It was a very cool atmospheric place, not the most amazing sounding room, so that made Kevin and I, who was the mixing engineer, work a little bit harder.
They're very friendly, it's very convenient, but it is very tricky.
5 or 6 days in, I told the assistants, I said, man, you guys need to put some carpet in here or wood on the floor, something to warm up the room, because they had like hard tiles. It's a terrible idea, and it's a cool place because, in front of the console, you look out, if you have the drapes pulled and you see the river, but that's glass, so that's reflective, and, it's just hard you could move around a few feet and you really don't know what you're getting.
Are you taking notes, Steph Andy?
Glass.
Yes. You can build a studio with a
Just have
glass.
to control it, you know.
Working in an environment that I'm not used to, that I haven't been used to before, I did, you know, was very anal about getting the kind of tones that I was looking for. But it went pretty fast. You know, the guys at Principal were capable and helpful with that. We did lots of tracks because I put, this time, 5 mics. I did use some different mics on my guitar cabs than I've used before, but we actually tracked every mic. So that stacked up to become quite a lot of tracks, which really, if you see it, it's like, holy shit, that's really overwhelming. But what it did in the mix was it gave us more control, because each microphone has a different color in the tone.
I think the maximum track number we had was 324, and the smallest amount that we had was about 147, and I actually phoned John up and complained that we only had 147 tracks, because I said there must be some missing, and he said no, that this one's a small one.
I knew we were working in different environments, and you know, I mean, Morris Sound I know very well. I've been working there for so many years that once we do things, I feel really comfortable. But I felt like this was a way to, you know, to really have more control once we got into the mix.
Totally. It does? Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It's actually cool. It's got attitude. I like it.
Do you want to go again?
It doesn't feel natural to me.
I think it's
Is
this
there
one
any
here,
reason
the
why?
the melody on the bridge, watch.
Yeah, that's the problem. Let me, because it doesn't feel natural. Play it again. Can I solo from here?
Yeah.
Okay, harmony.
And it's the Mel guitar doing the da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, go back. Is there anything on these tracks?
No.
My management told me about Kevin. They had worked with him before on some other projects that didn't have anything to do with metal, but I really felt that his mixes were good. And I talked to him. I listened to some of the stuff. It's more of like a pop thing that he's done in the past. And he's done rock and stuff, but he hadn't done metal.
This is my first metal album, and I'm very lucky that it's Iced Earth that I'm working with. John is a really hard-working musician, and he's made it very easy for me to mix this record with him. He knows exactly what he wants.
I told him what I was looking for and what my goals were at production, and then obviously in the mix to have it translate in the mix.
Mixing is about translating the emotion of the song, whether it's a metal song or a ballad song or whatever type of music it is. It's more about translating it for the artist, and every artist is different. And like I say, John's been fantastic because he actually knows what he wants. So for me, he's steered me in the direction that we've needed to be steered. I didn't want to overproduce everything and be. I mean, it feels to me. This feels very real, and it is. It's very punchy and it's heavy, and I wanted to make sure that we had a really cool, strong drum sound that was more in the front than things have been in the past. It's just little differences. It's still very clearly an Iced Earth record. We haven't done anything drastic. It's just that I think it has a cool, organic, more alive kind of a quality to it. Yeah, it's a new artist that we're working with. His name's Eliran Kantor, and he approached management about doing some art for us and sent me some stuff, and I thought, well, that's really cool. I already knew what the concept of the album. I mean, I had the theme, I had the like normal, the layout of the cover, what I wanted in my head, and so I talked to Eliran. I said that the main thing I need to see is how you would draw Set. You know, how would you paint him? Whatever your medium is, I want to see your approach on it, because he has a much more realistic look. You know, I mean, all of our stuff has been comic book based for years and years.
So I did like a quick sketch for them, and afterwards we went head on to discussing the concept and the story behind the new record.
This is like a step up for sure in detail and intensity. And he was able to capture it really cool. I mean, once I saw what he could do with Set, you know, and we went back and forth a lot on this cover. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him and we went through a lot of details, and I know he spent a lot of time on it.
The basic sketches were done in pencil, then scanned, then repainted digitally, but in a way that really resembles oils and maybe pastels.
The level of detail and the level of like involvement is making for one of the coolest covers in the band's history for sure.
Basically, it's the main character, the main Iced-Earth mascot Seth. He's sitting on a throne, holding zombies linked to chains that he's holding on in his hands, and he's about to unleash them like he is unleashing the plagues of Babylon.
We had to find a mastering studio in Berlin. So, you know, basically everyone I asked was like, oh, you should go master with Busy.
Also a guy who came from a completely different world musically. Does mostly hip hop and rap and stuff.
Basically all of the Seed Records, which is one of the biggest German bands. He did all the Silbermond stuff, which is a huge German band. He's doing a lot of, you know, like rock records like Silly and whatnot.
Stranger in a Strange Land. But Busy's cool. He knows what he's doing. I feel very confident. He's a very capable engineer and seemed to really understand what we were looking for. And I mean, I was very impressed. You know your room, you know your rig. See if you think it's an improvement, because I think the three of us could live with it where it is and be really happy with it. That was my initial thing: is do we have enough happening on the top end?
I still have some headroom on the top end. I started at 16 kilohertz, and there's still enough headroom on almost 20. I can use the other curve bender for give just like 1 dB on the 20, and this should be it. I had that feeling first also because I need to have the shimmer on the cymbals and stuff, and on the hi-hat. This is what I'm kind of missing.
I don't want the punch and I don't want the warmth to be messed with because I think it's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a little bit up there.
That's
in
one
the air a
effect.
little bit.
That one effect. The punchiness.
Cool. And he's been really valuable in this process to get a fresh set of ears on it and understanding what the goal is from weeks before he heard anything. You know, it was really valuable. So his input through this thing has been really cool.
The guy who built the console, he made something to it that when you listen, when you press this button here, I just want to hear I just want to see if you hear any difference if you push this button right here.
I never have heard of anything like that, and he's like, man, you know, he hits this button. He says, you got to check this out. Listen, get up there and listen real close because this does some amazing stuff to the mix. And I'm sitting there listening for a few minutes, and I'm like, I don't hear you.
You don't hear it?
No. What?